when the saints go marching in.
Vox Fidei brings you into the inner life of the Word made flesh. Father Chris guides us in the lives of the saints in Saintly series.
Welcome to Saintly series. Today, 29th of August, we celebrate the beheading of St. John the Baptist. John the Baptist, being the forerunner of the Messiah, John lived in the desert until the time came for him to properly prepare the way for the Lord. He did this by preaching repentance. Many now saw John as a sign of hope, and they followed John. John preached repentance and baptized his followers in the famous River Jordan. As such, Jesus too, in beginning his public ministry, went to be baptized by John at the River Jordan. On the day of the baptism of Jesus, there were signs. The Father acknowledged Jesus as his Son. This is as recorded in the Gospel of St. Matthew chapter 3, verse 17. Matthew records that the voice of the Father was heard as saying, "This is my Son, the beloved, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." Jesus' baptism now became a fulfillment of all righteousness. And also, Jesus went into the waters of baptism to sanctify the waters of baptism. During the public ministry of John, he taught his disciples how to live a life of prayer and fasting. He also condemned some of the practices of the rulers of the time. Notable amongst this was his rebuke of King Herod Antipas for his incestuous relationship with his half-brother's wife, Herodias. Consequently, John the Baptist was arrested and imprisoned in the mountain forest of Machaerus. Angered by this, Herodias never forgave John the Baptist, and she did everything possible to ensure that John the Baptist was done away with. The problem Herod had with John the Baptist was not that John the Baptist should deny Christ. No, far from it. It was simply that John the Baptist should stop pointing to the truth. He should be silent in the face of evil. John remained confident, on the other hand, in the power of the one who had called and sent him. And so he courageously spoke the truth at all times and called the hearts of the people to repentance and to salvation. Even from prison, his thunderous voice echoed in the conscience of Herod and Herodias. "Herod, your action is disgraceful," his voice would thunder. One day, the king made a vow to his daughter Salome after she had presented a beautiful dance to the admiration of his guests at his birthday celebration. Salome, upon the request of her mother, demanded from the king the head of John the Baptist. The Bible did not tell us what happened to his head or where he was buried. The Gospel of Matthew tells us that his disciples came and took away his body, and they buried it, and even went and told Jesus. Matthew chapter 14, verse 12. Tradition holds that he was buried in Sebastia, a place originally called Samaria in Palestine. After the celebration of the birthday of John the Baptist, some people asked me where his head has been laid. In answer to them, I say, there are about 4 sites in the world with claims of preserving the head of St. John the Baptist. The first, in Damascus, Syria, the Umayyad Mosque, built in the 8th century, is said to have been built on the same site where a church was built before, and the head of John the Baptist was buried there. Second, a skull said to be that of St. John the Baptist is on display in the church of San Silvestro in Capite, Rome. In the church, There are relics and artifacts of different people as gathered from the Roman catacombs. The third, in the 13th century cathedral in Amiens, France, is displayed a skull said to be that of St. John the Baptist. History has it that it was during the crusade in the attack on Constantinople that it was carried away to France by one of the crusaders. And the fourth, in München, Germany, the 16th century Residence Museum has some relics and artifacts, including the said head of St. John the Baptist, collected by Duke Wilhelm V of Bavaria with permission from the papacy. So you will hear historians and archaeologists make claims that museums and monasteries in Egypt, in Turkey, in Mesopotamia have parts of the body of St. John the Baptist. The life of St. John the Baptist brings to mind the price we must pay to be followers of Jesus Christ. John the Baptist was not afraid of standing for the truth and speaking the truth and pointing the truth out. He was always ready to die for the truth. We too must learn to be truthful in our dealings with others, putting God first in all we do. The color of the day is red. What we offer the saints is veneration. Peace be with you. I am Father Chris, Vox Fidei.
Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in.
Vox Fidei, God is in charge.